All right. So we got a nice bit of attendees. We appreciate you guys joining for this afternoon session. It's actually a really interesting opportunity that we're able to kind of get three different stakeholders on the call today. And I think when it comes to, anytime there's new technology or new solutions, sometimes it's hard to find all the parts of the puzzle that's necessary to kind of make that come to reality. Where in this case, we're able to kind of tie in a fantastic distribution partner, manufacturer, Speco Technologies, and lastly, the central station that is going to really help tie a lot of these really unique, innovative solutions together. So I think when it comes to who's making the product, who's distributing the product, and then who's kind of interfacing with the product after that product is installed, that's kind of the spread of the folks on the call. And I've had the fortunate pleasure of working with many of these, both of these guys, and it's excited to see the dynamic partnership that we have together. So the objective of today, let's just see if I could jump here. Actually, I'm not sharing anything, so I apologize. Um, Objective is today is to really kind of cover each of our different business units and how we could really all work together and interface with each other on the back end to make you guys more profitable in your businesses, make installs quicker, easier, and inevitably, you know, identify new opportunities for you to find pain points of your end users and navigate those pain points with the solutions that we have for you to continue to kind of be that thought leader in your space itself. So as we look at the industry as a whole, it's excited to see that the market is growing. So from time to time, we'll work with different partners and we'll hear, businesses slowing down, or maybe, they're not as opportunistic about what the market is going to look like. As we look at the spread of as we look at the spread of different categories of the industry that we're servicing, video surveillance is actually one of the fastest growing segments. So really, really excited to see that, the market is going to be growing double digits. Just means that there's opportunity for all of us on the call to sell more, install more, make more recurring. One of the interesting attributes that I was looking at from the Monitoring Association, TMA, was that for many companies that have smaller headcounts. So in this chart, what we're looking at here, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see my mouse here. This purple line is indicative of companies with 3 to 50 employees. The amount of attrition is actually going in the opposite direction. So it's actually the amount of customers that we're losing is happening quicker than it's ever happened in the past. So attrition rate of smaller companies, which was typically reflective of many of our business segments, the attrition rate is exponentially getting higher and higher. So while we're putting on more accounts, we're also losing them quicker. And it's something to just be mindful of as you're looking at like business valuations, and you're looking at the value of your company in the event that you're ever looking to exit, or if you're maybe building a compensation around recurring monthly revenue. Attrition rate is typically a very big variable when it comes to those when it comes to those equations. To kind of build onto that, so the attrition rate, the amount of accounts that we're losing, is happening quicker than ever before, but also the margin of our existing accounts are also getting compressed. So we're losing accounts much quicker than we've ever had in the past, and the margin of the accounts that we have are also kind of getting compressed. And that's a lot of times competition. There's the DIY guys that are kind of working a little skinnier, and they sometimes may have less overhead. So to kind of paint the picture, the market is growing. Our recurring monthly revenue as an industry is getting tightened up, and the margins are becoming a little skinnier. So the opportunity for all of us on the call today is to really highlight what are alternative means of generating recurring monthly revenue that's at higher margins, that has lower attrition rates, and has some in some cases lower cost creations. So just to kind of introduce Speco Technologies, we're a video surveillance manufacturer. We cover really three categories of business. So we cover video surveillance, access control, and audio. Speco actually started off as a speaker company. Speco stands for Speaker Company, and we've been in business for over 65 years. We're a multi-generational family business. We're headquartered out of New York. We service the entire continental United States as well as North America, and we have a really, really robust team of in-field sales representatives So if you guys aren't familiar with who your local territory manager is, please feel free to shoot me a note or reach out to our customer service department, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction. We of course have dedicated resources behind the scenes. When we think of who is IMIX, IMIX is the central station operating system that many central stations use across the country. So Dynamark happens to be powered by IMIX. And IMIX is a fantastic partner to Speco because we have some really, really deep integrations with IMIX. So a lot of times on your traditional burglar alarm system, you're interfacing with the IMIX platform. IMIX is one of the most aggressive when it comes to video monitoring, and we'll talk on different opportunities when it comes to the video monitoring space. But really intuitive, really user friendly to you as the installer, and there's some really powerful features that are feature sets that are coming down to the end user level that are going to really enhance the overall experience and the value prop. So when it comes to choosing partners, there's many video manufacturers out there, and for that matter, there's many different central stations that are also out there. So it's important to work with partners that have good, deep relationships with one another. Speco has a fantastic partnership with IMIX as well as with Dynamark. There's no licensing fees with any of the products that Speco is selling. So whereas a lot of our competition is charging really expensive licensing fees that are eating up your margin in the project, Speco essentially you buy the product and you own it for life of the product. One of the other really, really important factors to consider when it comes to video monitoring is the strength and the accuracy of analytics. To prevent false alarms going to the central station and potentially eating up your margin in that account, you need to make sure that we're reducing all those false alarms as best as possible. Some of the biggest integrators across the United States are using Speco technologies tying into their IMIX central stations because of the accuracy of our analytics. So we feel really, really confident that some of the biggest customers across the country have decided to lead with Speco for these video monitored applications. So we feel very confident. By no means is it 100%, but it's certainly very close to it. And that's essentially just going to eliminate false alarms, increase accuracy, increase response times, and overall give the end user a better experience. Just to kind of give you a quick snapshot as to what the relationship looks like. So at the local site, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see my mouse or not, but on the left-hand side, we have the local site where we have different connected devices, our cameras, speakers, access control. In the middle, we have our Speco NVRs. We also have our Speco DVRs. And then on the right-hand side, that's where Dynamark, our central station, would come into the mix. So what's exciting to see is, in some cases, you could even position yourself to do takeovers. So they may have existing infrastructure that's already in place, that's maybe legacy product. Instead of now having to rip and replace the entire system, you could just replace different parts and pieces of that application to tie it into that central station experience. We've now even deepened that integration to the local camera and the local speaker level. So there are certain applications where maybe pricing is sensitive, or maybe the end user only has the need for one or two cameras. In some cases, we could even eliminate the Speco NVR or the Speco server and just tie that camera directly into the central station. And there's some really cool things that we could do with edge-based analytics where we don't need a lot of expensive hardware on site in order for us to kind of deliver the end objective of having a monitored video surveillance system. A couple of quick things that we could just talk on the right-hand side. We could set up different rules and parameters. So common use case, we want to protect a dumpster that's in the back of a commercial property. Or in a residential application, I want to make sure that nobody's using my backyard after certain hours. We can now basically have those signals getting triggered directly to the central station with video verification, video monitoring. We also have the ability to tie in certain specialty cameras where the operator would be able to actually physically move the camera. So maybe we're covering a very large parking lot and we want to be able to see kind of what's going on in the back corner of that parking lot. We now have the ability to actually adjust certain cameras and move the cameras left to right, up and down to make sure that there's essentially no blind spots on the project itself. When it comes to managed services, there's a couple of different things that we have going on simultaneously, and I think sometimes it could result in confusion at our installer level, and we really would like to just kind of help you guys understand what are certain terms and what do they really mean to you and to inevitably the end user. So we're accustomed to traditional alarm monitoring, which is basically, in short, contacts that are tripped that are resulting signals into the central station. With alarm monitoring, there's no way to differentiate false alarms versus accurate alarms. And there's some crazy, crazy, crazy statistics that speak to how many false notifications there are in the United States. I think it's something in the ballpark of like a 98% of alarms are actually false notifications. So it's resulted in a lot of fatigue at the central station level because I'm going to guess using the percentage and using the odds, it must be a false alarm. Video verification is in the event that alarm is tripped. Now the central station operator could actually use that signal to dial into the video surveillance to either validate or better understand what's going on in that particular situation. So now they'll have more situational awareness. So the alarm is tripped, that signal goes to the central station, and now the central station is able to actually physically see and hear what's going on the site itself. So the glass was broken. Is it an armed robbery, or was it maybe a box that fell off the shelf that may have accidentally leaned into the glass itself? Virtual guard tours, huge, huge, huge opportunity for everyone in the space. So for those that may be on the call, I noticed some of the attendees were actually in the physical guard category. Dealing with the human element of having somebody physically on site exposes you to significant liability of potentially having that person be under the weather, maybe call in sick that day, or in some cases have their buddies be part of whatever would be action that they're looking to execute. We're now seeing many, many alarm companies navigate and kind of tackle this category of business, which has typically been untouched by many of the alarm companies. So as you guys are kind of working your markets and you see there's someone physically standing or sitting in a patrol car monitoring that parking lot, we could essentially replace that human with video surveillance and a central station that's operated 24/7, that's backed with a UL stamp of approval. So virtual guard tours is essentially giving you the ability to eliminate the need to have somebody on site, but without sacrificing any of the experience or the protection that you're getting. And in some cases, giving the end user better protection at a much lower rate, at a much lower cost associated with it. Remote access, being able to access that video surveillance system anywhere in the world. So maybe you're not there on site, giving you and giving the end user the experience as if you're physically sitting there. Virtual concierge. There's a really good example that was shared with me with one of our larger installers. They had a gate operator that would open up a gate to let different delivery drivers in and out of that gate. What turns out to happen whenever they hit that buzzer, they would hope that the secretary was sitting at her desk to pick up the phone, understand which delivery it is, and then press the button to open up the gate. The secretary at sometimes was working from home. She wasn't there. She was in the bathroom. It resulted in a lot of the late deliveries, a lot of missed deadlines, and it was extremely expensive to the business. Using that same example, the alarm company came in and replaced that with a Speco solution where now anytime they press that button, that's actually triggering that signal to the central station. The central station now has video and audio communication with the person and the truck driver, and then remotely being able to open up the gate as if they were on site. So again, understanding the pain points of your end users and creating solutions with our technologies to address those pain points and inevitably position you to monetize those systems. And some really good open-ended questions of how expensive is it to your operations for you to have to miss that delivery or for you to have to miss that deadline? for $20 a month or for $30 a month or for $100 a month? Would that be a pain point that I'd be able to address? And a lot of times you'll see uh, there are certain pain points that are really uh, expensive to the end user, and now we'll have those solutions to address it. And I think when it comes to prospecting these types of solutions, it's really important to understand pain points, operational efficiencies, and how we could add value to the end user, and inevitably like better understanding like what type of hardware is already installed. And in some cases, before you have to rip and replace that entire solution, maybe being able to go and do an upgrade, utilizing the existing infrastructure. Those types of concepts are going to minimize that creation cost and better position you to increase your conversion. I think one of the other really important things, and we'll just see if we touch on it here, when it comes to an alarm system. So we'll think of a traditional building, and we'll think of U-Haul just because they have U-Haul locations across the United States. U-Haul has equipment and facilities outside of the building itself. So using an alarm system, in the event that an intruder were to break a window, at that point, the damage was already done. We've inflicted pain to the end user, and now we're hoping that we just catch the bad guy. The concept with video monitoring and virtual guard services, we could leverage analytics to create rules where I want to notify the central station the second he steps foot onto the property, not after he breaks the window. So trying to change that mindset of reactive to being proactive. Also, when we think of outdoor facilities or, properties that have exterior assets, so going back to that U-Haul, they have trucks, they have a ton of catalytic converters. We want to protect those catalytic converters. And today, the traditional alarm installation really is not so conducive to protecting exterior parts and pieces of the building. We can now replace that application with a video camera. And in the event that a human or a vehicle is detected between certain hours going close to my fleet of trucks in the middle of the night, now the central station operator is getting that notification, proactively intervening, and inevitably trying to prevent that harm from happening before it's too little too late. Just a quick look at the statistics. This one in particular is absolutely mind-boggling, but after 20 minutes, a CCTV operator watching a video scene will miss up to 95% of important activities. So if you're going into different end users and they say, oh, well, I have Bob watching the camera, so I really don't need video monitoring. Well, did you know that Bob is probably going to miss 95% of those really, really important activities after 20 minutes of watching that 20 minutes of watching that video itself? So knowing the numbers is really eye-opening to see how much opportunity there really is in the market. And something else that I just thought was pretty interesting was the fact that almost 70% of would-be crime, damage, theft is typically prevented just with the use of a security or video surveillance installation. So before we even actually have that tied into a monitoring environment, just having something physically there and something as a visual deterrence is going to prevent and shut off almost 70% of the crimes. So when it comes to, kind of the value equation. So whenever we're deciding value, there's always price and essentially what are they getting for that cost. So in some cases, end users have the ability to mitigate cost by taking advantage of your services. And in some cases, when we're going to them with kind of a luxury, they think, I may not have the budget for this luxury item. I may not have this budget for an upgraded camera. Where we really want to help is to change the mindset of this isn't a luxury. This is an efficiency tool that you're now going to be able to use to save money. So you invest into a little of our services, but you're now going to be able to eliminate the physical guard that's making maybe $50,000 to $70,000 by sitting in your parking lot. We're going to eliminate your late deliveries. We're going to eliminate maybe any potential downtime by you having a window smashed in, because we're not going to wait until that window is smashed in to dispatch police. We're actually going to dispatch police before the guy gets to the window. So those types of conversations are really going to help you guys differentiate yourselves amongst your competition and inevitably help the end user save a ton of money and time but more importantly, position you to monetize those systems and make the recurring monthly revenue. When it comes to surveillance, and I think we talked on this briefly before, but you know, today we're all in the mindset of we want to capture events as they take place and hope that the authorities are going to pursue and execute and chase down, the would-be crooks. When in reality, many of the police departments across the United States are running very lean. They're working with less people. They're working more hours than they've ever worked before. So we really need to take some of those matters into our own hands. And in some cases, we really want to help prevent crimes before they happen. And I think when we're talking to the end users, and I'm sure it's happened to many of us on the call, we're on a sales call and the end users, complaining about their dumpster, they're complaining about their catalytic converters, and they think a new camera is going to stop that from happening. When in reality, we all know that's going to do nothing to stop it. It's just going to witness it. And now we're going to just have really, really good video verification of that person stealing my catalytic converter. And we hope that the police are going to chase down that would-be crook. We can now help you guys differentiate that message to say, Mr. End User, I no longer want to watch that crime take place. I want to prevent it. So we now have technology, and this is just a couple of pictures here, but we have technology where we have integrated cameras, speakers, sirens, strobe lights to really help prevent events before they take place. So the concept is, as you guys are understanding different pain points of your end user, well, Mr. Customer, it sounds like you're really concerned about the back of your building. Wouldn't it be great if we can maybe play an audible message or trigger some visual lights, hopefully shed off those would-be crooks? As we all know, when the lights go on, the cockroaches run. We want to replicate that same kind of concept with video surveillance at scale. What's also really nice, and I'll touch on this in a second, the ability now for us to have a very, very easy to integrate product into the central station. So if we wanted to offer video monitoring, virtual guarding service, a lot of times you need a lot of parts and pieces for it to be really complete and well integrated. You need a speaker, you need a microphone, you need a camera, you need a lot of power for all of these different ancillary accessories, where now we have a technology and we have a product that's self-contained, super easy to deploy, powered off a standard PoE run. So lower creation cost, higher recurring, easier install. Those are all the objectives of some of these technologies of kind of what we're looking at on the screen here. Really cool video where this is actually, I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear audio, but we'll roll with it. We have a project where customers concerned with illegal dumping. We witnessed the crime take place for many weeks. We replaced that camera with one of those deterrent cameras that we were just looking at on the last slide. I believe it was this one here. And the camera is now going to play an automatic message after the business hours. And I'm not sure if you'll hear the audio coming through on your side, but the concept is play a pre-recorded audio message, trigger the strobe lights all simultaneously the second that human cross that digital barrier, that digital boundary. So it's okay if they're outside of that protective region, but the second they breach that line, I want to trigger an automatic response locally on site, but also simultaneously, I want that message to go to the central station. The central station now, the operator is going to address the situation. They'll have situational awareness to say, it's a black Nissan, and let me speak down to this guy so he's aware that I'm monitoring the situation. Excuse me, sir, with the black backpack, if you don't remove yourself and your trash from our property immediately, we're going to dispatch the police and you're going to be convicted of a potential illegally loitering or illegal, littering fine. Those are the types of use cases where it's super, super easy and it's really, really addressing the pain point to the end user. So the end user, instead of them paying an extra $500 every week to get an extra cart call, to get that dumpster dumped every week, week after week, now they'd rather pay you as the alarm company maybe $30 or $50, because I'd much rather pay you $50 a month than to pay that garbage company $500 a week for that guy that, I really don't even want to be paying for that service to begin with. So again, understanding the pain points of the end user, what are their costs associated with kind of those pain points today, and how we could really help with some of these solutions. when it comes to also different types of applications, so whether we're thinking of construction sites or maybe temporary projects, or maybe we want to cover that dumpster and there's no way that I'm going to get power or cable to, power internet to that dumpster. Speco has introduced these solar solutions where we even have the larger trailer type products, but a little bit more price sensitive, a little bit more easier to deploy. These are designed to be bolted up onto a pole. The concept is essentially give the end user power and data anywhere within reason, anywhere. And now being able to take advantage of those video monitoring, visual verification, all without the need of having to have a physical guard. So as you're walking, those job sites with your end user, and they say, my building I'm really not having an issue with, it's that outhouse out all the way in the back of that field. That's why I really need to pay that security guard to come through my parking lot and do the rounds to make sure that the kids aren't back there drinking, or maybe nobody's going through my personal shed or my personal container in the back. In those applications, this is a perfect product to kind of make it super, super easy for us to deploy and be able to tackle those, and address the pain points of those customers. Some of the other things that, we have, and I think something so simple as like our hardware, and what Speco does on our hardware to make those projects easier to install and inevitably quicker to install. Something so simple as having junction boxes. So for those that may not be in the video surveillance space, typically these accessories are sold separately. They're expensive. They're hard to find. Sometimes your supply house doesn't have them in stock. Speco includes all the mounting hardware directly inside the packaging. So it's kind of like you're buying the sneakers. It comes with the shoelaces. That's kind of the concept and mentality with our products. So if you're managing a large sales team and maybe you have a greener sales rep that may not know that he needs those junction boxes, or maybe the end user says, you could put it on the soffit, but then when it comes time to installation, they say, you know what, I never said that. I really want it bolted onto the brick wall. In those cases, you need the junction box. And now your $5, $10, $30,000 project is held up by this $20 or $30 accessory. We include it with all the cameras. We also have the ability to customize the cameras. So again, many from dealer feedback, we found out that many businesses have generated pipeline based on referral business. So we'd highly encourage you guys to take advantage of our etching program. It's an extremely low minimum order quantity. It's either 5 or 10 pieces. It's $1 per camera. But the concept is, don't build our brand. Continue to build your brand in the market. And what has started to happen already since we've introduced this program is that property, or that property management company, or the facilities manager who originally signed the contract, he's not there in 3 or 4 years from today. Now, instead of that new facilities manager calling Speco, in this case, they're calling ADR Electronics, or they're calling Jimmy Pascal's surveillance company. Makes it a little more competitive for them to prevent takeovers. Again, enables you to position yourself to increase your margin on the hardware itself, because they can't shop this on eBay or on Amazon, or take your quote to the next guy in town to see if they could kind of chop your legs out from underneath you. So really, really nice sales tool for you to increase brand awareness, increase referral business, but also just to kind of maintain your existing book of business, increase your margins, prevent the competition from coming in and trying to price pressure you. So kind of as I wrap up my spiel, and then I'm going to pass it off to Kevin to just talk on that distribution arm and how we could better partner together with a great distributor partner like Fast. We really would encourage you guys to look through these end user and dealer benefits. I'll send this deck to everybody that was on the call today, but from an end user perspective, operational efficiency. It's an insurance policy. In some cases, we position it to be a cost saver, not a luxury, but a need to have. So let me help save you money, not I need you to spend your money. And then from a dealer benefits, what we found is to have that attrition rate significantly lower than traditional alarm systems. It's interactive. It's preventing crimes from happening. It's not just witnessing them as they take place. it's really competitive for you to be in the market because not a lot of your competition is in that space today. So you could be that thought differentiator when you're in front of that customer and they're kind of walking you through some of their concerns, their pain points. Now we have the tools and the resources to prevent rather than us just witness. Really, really focus on building out your recurring monthly revenue and increasing your margin on your RMR itself. Kevin, wanted to see if you'd like to talk to Fast and kind of our partnership and how we could help some of the partners on the call today. Kevin, do you hear me okay? Let's just see if Kevin is here. Kevin, do we have you okay? Scott, are you there by chance?
I'm here. Is Kevin there?
I don't see him in here. I see him in here. He may be having a little technical difficulty, so I'll speak to his slides. And Kevin, if you have anything that you'd like to add and you can figure out the audio piece, by all means, please feel free to jump in. Um, Fast is a good distributor partners of ours, not a great distributor partners of ours. They're based out of Maryland. Uh, we've had a relationship for many, many years. And I think what's unique is Fast has that direct connection to Dynamark. So in some cases, they're kind of on both sides of the coin. Uh, I think where Kevin adds a ton of value is with system design. So as you guys are coming across different applications or different projects, Kevin has a ton of product knowledge um, where he'd be able to actually make recommendations within the Speco ecosystem, or in some cases, leverage additional manufacturers to kind of complete that overall goal of delivering that end user expectation. Um, they're based out of Hagerstown, Maryland. It's a nice family owned business. They're a great partner to ours. Uh, they're committed to growing your prospective businesses, and I think like anything else, would encourage you guys to reach out to Fast for any upcoming projects or even like a second opinion because I think you'll be pretty impressed with kind of their overall value of quick deliveries, competitive pricing, and that system design, which is mission critical. Scott, anything you'd like to add on behalf of Kevin?
Sure. He must be having technical difficulties. Let me just take a look at this real quick. Yeah, so Fast Security Action Team is our distribution side of Dynamark. It's been in the industry over 40 years. They're located in the corporate office in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is where our main central location is. They specialize in residential, commercial equipment, security market. And the benefit to the dealer is we offer discounted pricing to Dynamark partners and customers. So not only can you have your accounts monitored with Dynamark, you can also buy equipment through Dynamark directly. And we have some savings and discounts and things that Kevin and his team put forth for our dealers and prospective dealers. The partnership with Speco, you can certainly get the Speco equipment through Fast. They've had a partnership with Speco for about 20 years, and they work side by side. So Brett and Kevin can answer any equipment questions or product questions that you may have. I think Kevin ran into some technical difficulties, so that's the overview of Fast Distribution. We're a unique central in the sense that we're the only central station that has a distribution side as well. So we can provide a one-stop shop for our dealers and potential dealers. You want to flip to mine, Brett? Brett, you there? Hello? Brett, are you there? Hello? Do we have audio? Can you hear me?
I hear you. Sorry
Okay. All right,
about
great.
that. Little technical on my side, but we're live.
No worries. You got to love technology, right? It's a
Literally.
thing when it works.
Great.
So thank you everyone for joining. That was my brief overview of fast distribution. Unfortunately, Kevin ran into some difficulties. So if you want to know more about that, we can put you in contact with him. I just wanted to take and tie this all together. Um, who's Dynamark as a whole? What should you be looking for in a monitoring partner? Touched briefly on the Speco partnership, which Brett did a good job, and some additional RMR opportunities that we're seeing in the industry. Next slide. So you can drive for me there, Brett.
Yep, I'm with you.
Okay.
Oops.
Okay. So who's Dynamark? So Dynamark is used to be a dealer, and what they since 1972, Dynamark's been around. We've been respected in the industry. Back then, we grew to the fifth largest security company in the United States. After about 1998, they sold off Dynamark and came back in 2010 and opened the newest, most technologically advanced central station from the ground up. We operate in all 50 states. We have 2 locations and provide coverage coast to coast. We're located in Hagerstown, Maryland, and we recently acquired TriStar Monitoring this year in California. So we have 2 physical locations for redundancy and second location and all the benefits that come with that. Next slide. So I know you have choices in central stations. So I talk to dealers all over the country, and in those conversations, they all fit into 3 categories really. Is what are they looking for in a central? Is technology, service, and pricing. So what dealers tell me across the country is that they are not getting the service they want or deserve. They're frustrated. They feel forgotten about. They have lack of access. They feel like a number. Phone calls not being returned or timely answers and resolutions to questions, etc. The technology, software, tools are outdated or not user friendly. And of course, pricing. Pricing always comes into play eventually during the conversation. And the one thing about Dynamark is we are competitive and or better than with pricing than our competitors. And we also have some savings through our third parties that we pass along to our dealers. And we're transparent in our pricing where there's no hidden fees. So Brett mentioned false alarms earlier, for example. We created Instant Connect a few years ago and actually won the ESX Innovation Award a few years back on it. And what that is our SMS tech software. So we opt everyone in, every dealer in and their customers. And when an alarm goes off, the customer gets a text message and they can dispatch or dismiss right from their phone or their device. It looks like people have copied us. I guess what's the sincerest form of flattery or imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So ours is a SMS text message. There's no app to download. There's nothing to pay for. We opt everybody in, with the exception of commercial fire, of course. So again, all these conversations stem back to technology, service, and pricing, and each dealer has their own unique challenges within those categories and subsets of those categories as well. And we, Dynamark, make unparalleled investments in technology and have the highly trained operators to manage that technology as well. Next slide. So with that being said, of course, you have many choices in monitoring centers. So that creates the monitoring paradox. Are you too small? Is the monitoring center too big? The one thing about Dynamark is we're in the middle. So we're big enough to play nationwide. We're big enough to provide the service and technology customers are looking for to be cutting edge, but we're also nimble enough to change on a dime, fix issues, and still answer the phone and give customers the relationship or dealers the relationship that they are looking for. Our people are obviously the most important piece of Dynamark. The technology is what the technology is, but we recognize the value of a well-trained team to make life easy on you, the dealer. Everything we do is for you. We're an extension of your business. and the relationships that we build with our dealers are substantial. We don't want you to just monitor your accounts with us. We want to build that relationship with you so that we understand your business and understand how we can help you better as a dealer. Next slide. So what do you deserve? What we think the 4 things you should expect from a monitoring center is great technology. The tools need to be able to grow and operate your business at a high level. We've created that with InstaConnect, inside our dealer dashboard, and some other tools that we provide our dealers. Do we make life better for you? Our job, again, is to make your life easier. We need to provide great support. I hear this all the time. I can't get issues resolved. No one will call me back. They took forever. Whatever the answer is, our dealers have access to everyone from me to dealer services to the sales team, all the way up to our CEO if necessary. And you can reach somebody when you call us. We have extended customer service hour or dealer services hours for our dealers to cover all the time zones and be there when you need us. Of course, great service. Products are what products are, and service is the one thing that can be defined by us. It's why do you shop at Publix versus Walmart, for example? Because service. Are you getting the attention you want? Are you getting consistent experience? Are you getting answers in a timely fashion? And then lastly, great vision. Are they working to bring solutions and problems you don't even know about? We look at unrecognized needs. We look at things of trends and opportunities that are coming down the pike. Where is the industry going? What do we need to do? Where do we need to be ahead of our competition? Obviously, where do we need to be to provide great service, great technology, and great support to our dealers? And that's where Speco, in this particular webinar, that's where Speco and our other integrations come into place. Obviously, we're integrated with Speco. Imix is our platform that we use. You can get Speco equipment directly from Fast Distribution. Of course, we work closely with Brett to set dealers up and utilize the Speco equipment. Again, that's a unique benefit with Fast Distribution as well. We do all the heavy lifting. When you want to add video, I know video is like the Wild West these days because it's new. Everybody's trying to figure out how to monetize it. So we have our video opportunities and our technology dialed in, not just with Speco, but with other vendors as well. Of course, this webinar is about Speco, so I'll stay with Speco for now. But we have all of those integrations already in place. So we do the heavy lifting for you, so there's no blowback or low blowback if there's a problem. In addition to that, what we found is additional revenue opportunities or RMR opportunities. So we look at ways to help you become better. What can we do to provide you great service? And what we found is other verticals. For example, locksmiths. The locksmith industry is changing, and I know there's a couple locksmiths on this call. Thank you for joining. What we found is locksmith industry specifically is expanding in other verticals. Some want to stay institutional, but some locksmiths are expanding and they're adding security so that when they go into a home, they can own the home. All of that can be monitored. So if a locksmith, for example, is not monetizing the security side or products that they're using currently, they can monetize that. Everything, basically, if you can get us a signal, we can monitor it and you can make money on it. So that's something that we've seen a lot of lately is industries like that, or IoT or access control, or the fence industry, the locksmith industry, HOAs, etc. There's all an opportunity for all of us to make a lot of money with that and monetize it and create and expand our revenue through RMR. And that's Dynamark at a high level. I would love to talk to you individually if you have questions or situations that you'd like to know more about. And in the essence of time, I'll flip this back to Brett and you bring it home.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I really do appreciate it. And Kevin, I feel bad because I know you had some things to say, but you're having some technical difficulties. But to those that have joined and attended, we really do appreciate the time. And I think, this is a growing category across the industry. And I would encourage you guys to continue to keep a pulse as to what's coming down the pipe and how you guys can leverage some of these technology solutions and innovations to netally differentiate yourselves and grow your prospective businesses. So we appreciate the time and looking forward to partnering with you guys. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to send us a note. Happy to have an offline conversation, whether it's myself or Scott or Kevin. I know Kevin was very talkative today, so really personable guy. But with that being said, we'll sit tight for another minute or so, see if any questions pop up in the chat here, and if not, we'll all jump and try to give you some time back on the calendar. Okay. Well, with that being said, hope everyone has a great rest of the day and looking forward to staying in touch. Take care now. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.